Imagine a seemingly idyllic home, where a family's love becomes a twisted cage, trapping those they claim to save. Welcome back, cinematic explorers, to a deep dive into A Father's Love, also known as The Cage, a chilling psychological thriller that will leave you questioning the true meaning of family. Today, we're dissecting every disturbing detail, every manipulation, and every heartbreaking betrayal in this intense film. Our story opens with Katrina, or Rena, arriving for a job interview at a remote, seemingly ordinary house. She's met by Chris, the seemingly kind patriarch, who immediately begins probing into her personal life. He asks unusual questions, inquiring about children, distinguishing marks, and crucially, any addictions. Rena assures him she has no addictions, an answer Chris seems to find wonderful. The next morning, Rena arrives early, only to be sternly reminded by Chris that 11 o'clock means 11 o'clock. Upon entering, her phone is confiscated, setting a tone of immediate control within the household. Chris reminds her of her job profile, which mentioned performing non-standard tasks, hinting at the unusual nature of the work. He explains she can refuse these tasks, but it would end their collaboration, and a confidentiality agreement would still be binding. Rena is introduced to Catherine, Chris's wife, and their young son, Jonathan, and given a tour of their spacious, isolated home. Chris emphasizes that Catherine hates it when things are out of order, a subtle warning about the household's strict rules. Jonathan asks to join Chris as he shows Rena the cellar, a request Chris quickly denies. In the cellar, Rena discovers a young man, Tommy, chained to the wall. Chris calmly explains that Tommy is just a bit sick, and they're going to make him better, downplaying the horrifying situation. He assures Rena that no one ever has, nor ever will be harmed in this house. Chris reveals he ran a background check on Rena, knowing about her visa issues and removal order, using this information to pressure her. He instructs her on the house rules, only eco-friendly products, a zero-waste household, and warns her about Tommy's behavior. Chris provides Rena with a taser and pepper spray, ominously advising her to use them if she feels threatened. Tommy pleads with Rena, desperate for help, but she is too terrified to act. He calls her deaf and begs her to undo it before they return. Chris later asks Rena if everything went all right, with a knowing smile. He explains Tommy's captivity as a rebellious phase, a temporary measure to make him better. Rena cleans the house, and Catherine praises her work, maintaining the facade of normalcy. Later, Tommy violently threatens Jonathan, who brings him food, revealing his unhinged state. Chris, overhearing Tommy, assures Catherine, "I have everything under control," before confronting Tommy. Tommy is then electrocuted as self-defense, initiating his cruel rehabilitation. Chris forces Tommy to watch videos of his past crimes, mocking his greatest hits while lecturing him. He explains that this is real life, emphasizing the consequences of his actions with statistics about drunk driving. Chris begins lessons with Tommy, starting with anger management techniques, using language that promotes understanding. Jonathan witnesses Tommy's violent outburst, further cementing his role in Tommy's rehabilitation. Jonathan asks Chris if he can read Charlie's comics, a detail that hints at a darker past. Chris agrees, telling Jonathan it will be our little secret, reinforcing their bond. Tommy continues to verbally abuse Chris, threatening his wife and son, escalating his defiance. Chris again resorts to the taser, silencing Tommy with electroshocks. Jonathan, oblivious, continues to ask to play with Tommy, showing his innocent acceptance of the situation. Tommy hurls racist slurs at Rena, revealing his deeply ingrained prejudices. Chris forces Tommy to apologize to Rena, asserting the respect expected in his home. Tommy offers a half-hearted apology, clearly not genuine. Chris tries to soften Tommy, even offering painkillers and a movie choice from Jonathan, Kes. Tommy watches Kes with the family, sarcastically calling it the most exciting thing I've ever seen. Catherine expresses her sorrow, revealing she dreams about him, presumably Charlie, highlighting her grief. Chris continues his lessons, showing Tommy an anti-drug video about cocaine. Tommy, seemingly softened, offers a sincere apology for his past behavior to Chris. Chris accepts the apology, expressing hope for Tommy's progress. Chris provides Tommy with new glasses, implying his previous ones were inadequate and limiting his perception. Tommy attempts to leverage a non-existent probation officer, only for Chris to reveal he knows there isn't one. Chris reveals his deeper motive, calling Tommy's life aimless and unnoticed, a perfect candidate for his project. Tommy is finally allowed to use the bathroom after days of being deprived, a small victory in his captivity. Chris gives Tommy a book, a coming-of-age story about a boy with tattoos, mocking his illiteracy. A delivery man brings a heavy parcel, which Chris instructs Jonathan never to open the gate for. Catherine finds Charlie's comics in Jonathan's pocket, sparking Chris's anger and concern about his little secret. Chris forces Jonathan to smoke, then brutally chokes him, demonstrating the terrifying consequences of disobedience. Tommy, witnessing the trauma, tries to connect with Rena, asking for a cigarette, but she denies smoking. Tommy recalls a past incident where he mugged a young boy, reenacting it with Jonathan, forcing him to look at his watch. He frightens Jonathan, telling him, "No one's coming to save you now," echoing his own helpless situation. Catherine interrupts Chris's lessons, offering to help, suggesting a rift in their methods. Tommy asks Rena to explain the word intricate from his book, showing a surprising desire to learn. Tommy offers to read a book in exchange for football scores, to which Chris promises a non-alcoholic beer for every book. The family celebrates Tommy's birthday with a cake, and Jonathan bakes for him. Tommy, surprisingly, enjoys the cake, saying it's fucking spot on. They take Tommy on a birthday outing to a steak restaurant, a rare moment of freedom. Tommy tells a crude story about clapping cheeks, which Jonathan asks Rena to explain. Catherine praises Tommy's appearance, calling him a very good-looking fellow. Tommy complains about reading Austen, indicating his continued resistance to their imposed education. Tommy plays cricket with Jonathan, displaying a playful side, almost like a real brother. After the outing, Chris chloroforms Tommy, returning him to captivity after the brief taste of freedom. Tommy wakes to find his bedroom has been upgraded, now with locks and a tether, granting him more controlled access to the house. Chris later removes a lock, granting Tommy total access to the whole of the downstairs, allowing him to eat at the dining table. Jonathan finds old photos in a drawer, asking, "Whose are these?" hinting at the previous occupant of his room. He asks, "This room used to belong to someone, didn't it?" unknowingly getting closer to the truth. Tommy notices Rena's distress, expressing concern and offering to beat the shit out of anyone making you feel this miserable. Tommy asks Rena to let him into the living room, but she denies knowing the code, claiming to have forgotten it. Tommy provocatively asks Chris and Catherine if they ever do anything together, as husband and wife, highlighting their strained relationship. Rena tells Chris and Catherine she's being followed by men from her old employer, a fabricated story by Chris. Chris offers Rena temporary shelter in the cellar, manipulating her into becoming another prisoner. Tommy cynically warns Rena about the chloroform, a grim inside joke. Later, Tommy flirts with Rena in the shower, mocking Chris's earlier lesson. Chris, inspired by Rena's shower suggestion, plans a romantic gesture for Catherine, enlisting help from Tommy and Rena. Tommy helps Rena prepare a meal for Catherine, joking that it tastes like toxic waste. Tommy and Rena discuss escapism and drugs, with Tommy acknowledging that life's shit sometimes. Rena finds Tommy reading To Kill a Mockingbird, prompting a discussion about his past. Chris praises Tommy's singing, a moment of false camaraderie. Tommy asks Rena to help him pick a lock, attempting to escape. He pressures her, reminding her that she's not a snitch. Rena's family arrives, demanding she be released, but they are actually Chris's hired thugs. Tommy, surprisingly, defends Chris and Catherine, completely assimilated into their family. Rena is dragged away, completely betrayed, as Chris murmurs, "I lost Rena," sealing her fate. Chris praises Tommy for protecting the family, solidifying Tommy's place as his son. Later, Tommy uses a hidden code to retrieve a gun, having finally found his moment to act. Chris tries to reason with Tommy, but he rejects the family, declaring, "I am my own man." Tommy realizes the truth: he's a replacement for a previous son named Charlie, whose room is now Jonathan's. He tells Chris he's going to ruin Jonathan, just like he did to the other one. Catherine wants to let Tommy go, hinting at a past failure with Charlie, but Chris refuses. Tommy shoots Chris, and Catherine, in a moment of chilling resolve, shoots Tommy. Later, Tommy is interviewed by police, claiming he was off me-face and made up his original story about being taken. He lies, saying he was out and about 4 months, enjoying a bit of freedom. Tommy claims Jonathan is a mate and like a brother to him, showing the lingering psychological impact. The detective reveals Gabby Tate reported him missing, mate Tommy later meets. Tommy drives away with Gabby, putting on a gas mask, a haunting image suggesting the cycle of manipulation might continue, or perhaps he found a new way out. And there you have it, the full, disturbing recap of A Father's Love. What do you think about Chris and Catherine's twisted idea of family? Did Tommy ever truly break free, or was he just the next perpetrator in a never-ending cycle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more movie explanations and ending breakdowns. Until next time, keep exploring the darker corners of cinema.